How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Paul?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about.
Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Jaguar, right? Hove, Beyonce, Diddy. Everybody in the news, regardless if the information is accurate. It's got to be a joke. The court of a public opinion is something else, boy. In our country specifically, you are innocent until proven guilty. But allegations make the news, are the news, and are believed. You have to prove yourself to be innocent regardless of what the law says. Regardless of what we raised up to believe, innocent and proven guilty win. Soon as you're arrested, the assumption is that you did it. But these allegations, unfounded, unprecedented, no, I've never heard that before regarding Hove, regarding Beyonce. Now we got to consider it. Now people are like, well, damn, is what she's saying accurate? Does it have merit? Bringing in Aaliyah, getting on the plane. She was there for all of this. Was she there for any of it? Thousands of victims came to her. Now, granted, she has been saying things like this regarding Puffy for a minute. I get it. But now we got Hove out of nowhere. You know, I run a lot of panel discussions and I look and I say, okay, who's coming up and for what reason, right? And don't get me wrong. We don't always have the proper discernment to say, okay, cut this off. This person has an agenda, etc., etc. Pierce been doing this longer than I. But even you see him, he does say things to the effect of, well, that person not here to defend himself. This is not what you were here for. Right? But he also inquired further into the Hove situation. It's just crazy, man. And you don't know why people are doing the things they do. Is she saying and doing these things that actually help people? Is she saying to do these things that actually help the victims? Or is this another 15 minutes of fame? Since she ain't had a hit in 30 years. It's so hard to tell. That's one thing I said about the Me Too movement. You know, that had merit for the women that were suffering those situations, unfortunately, right? But then when things start to be abused because of money, because of power, because of fame, because of potential fortune, then what happens to the people that are actually going through the shit? You got to question everybody. But you got so many people doing it for the wrong reasons, man. It's a joke. And you feel sorry for the real victims because you can't tell the difference. There's a thing that makes life examples and is the best analogy for everything in life. That's football. There's a thing we say in football. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. When you got too many people making allegations, too many victims, Too many people trying to get famous. You don't know what to believe. So I was just listening, man. Listening for things I could catch, things I will understand. What's a reach? What's people's mental health like? All this has to matter when people saying such salacious things. It's a whole lot to unpack, man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most.
These charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
cruelty-free artistry.
Right. There's been a lot of
the correlations. My goodness. This level of allegation, you have seen people fall for less. It's so hard to be impartial and just take the information as it is given, because something is off. Something is not making a lot of sense. I've tried to look at other interviews with her in them just to understand how coherent she is or isn't. It's TBD. But saying that Hove is the catalyst and a common denominator to all the tyranny that those people you named caused is, I've never heard anything so unprecedented. And I probably have, but that shit is crazy. It gotta be a joke, huh? Look at Pierce. Pierce don't know what to say. He don't know what to do. He thinking, damn, what's next? Where do we go from here? But where he messed up is he inquired further about Sean Carter. But that is not even why she up here. But I've been in this position where you kind of caught off guard, so you try to navigate it and you don't know when to cut it off. This is one of those times. Happens to the best.
Rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is.
What you find right here is Pierce starting to understand that name dropping is going to come to a head. That's one thing about processing information in real time. He inquired with the Sean Carter. Didn't think she was going to drop Sean Carter in association with Harvey Weinstein. So now look at how many more people are being implicated. Right? Look how many more names are being dropped. How do you make headlines? By being inflammatory, creating a moment. All these people are being thrown under the bus. Just straight allegations, no proof, no evidence. And unfortunately, because of cancel culture, it don't matter. This is something that we have to correct. Because real victims suffer when our modus operandi is as such.
To keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous. And everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice. His ego and his drug addiction won't allow him to do anything different. Anybody who thinks he's not going to talk is crazy. The simple fact that he's not saying more now only means that the people who have been protecting him all along, who put him in position to be such a horror to the Black community, still find value in him. He's got everybody on tape. They all know it. It's a mess.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominant.
Yo, she's doing good.
We need to understand what exactly she means by that. That's very important. Right. Also, we have to understand the contrary statements. If Judas is throwing a party, why are you at the party knowing it's the devil's party? So you'll party, you'll be subject to it, you'll participate, but your morality kicks in when it's time to take a picture? It's a joke. And this is what I mean, man. Credibility be shot in so many different ways when you actively listen. Now, of course, there's influence, there's things happening. People want to be great. They want to be successful. They sell their soul to the devil. They sell their soul to the devil. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. You knew better than to take a picture, but you made sure to participate up to and including being a sex worker. We're just trying to understand it. Let's see what she got.
Dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well.
I was listening to this, right? And I had to let it marinate a couple days, because she's a good orbiter, to be honest. I can see how people can be convinced. People are seemingly convinced rather easily. But the amount of allegations actually hurts the merit of what it is that's being said, in my opinion. You have tapes. You got 1,000 witnesses submitted to the police, submitted to lawyers and attorneys. These things that she's mentioning aren't unfathomable, right? These people got money, they got influence, they got power. Having fuck you money is a thing. Fear is a mind killer. We definitely understand how hard it is to go against people with super influence. But at what point do you say F it, Jaguar, right? Why don't we see all this information being submitted so it can be leveraged appropriately? It's hard, man. It's hard. And it's just so unfortunate that we live in a world where integrity is lost because you have to question everything. Because the news and media outlets don't question anything. They platform it because it's salacious, because it's provocative. Remember, being famous and infamous, you could argue, have the same benefits. And based on what's happening in this earth, the cost ain't no different either. When you get famous, have power and influence, you gotta be responsible. There's so many things you can't do that you used to do. You can't have as much fun as everybody else. Especially if you want to be upright or seen as such. Now that I say that, being infamous, you have the same benefits. But if you keep it 100, the costs are less. When you infamous, they expect you to be salacious, provocative, hurtful, polarizing, doing the things that you're accused of doing, winning regardless, winning in spite of. In this earth, it's almost like being infamous makes more sense. Pierce couldn't stop her. Why would he? I would play his apology to Jay-Z and Beyonce, but it was pressure. Right? They cut out that part of the interview to re-release it because Jay-Z got that bread and he said, listen, these are unfounded, ridiculous allegations. We will bring a level of suit against Piers Morgan Uncensored if you allow this information that is unproven, unfounded, to be steadily released to the public on your channel. So Pierce apologized and he edited that on Piers Morgan Uncensored. How you do anything is how you do everything, man. And so when you edit that out, what else need to be edited? What other names that she alleged to have done things need to be edited out or bring heat to Pierce? But he got stuck. He got caught up. And now we here. Jaguar, I don't know, man. You say you got a lot of info. You made a lot of allegations. We need to see it. In our country, you are innocent until proven guilty. But the court of public opinion, it's the inverse. You be canceled before anything ever happens. And then once you're found not guilty, once you're exonerated, your name is forever tarnished. So many people, so many sponsors won't touch you. I played all about the Benjamins when I was DJing the other day, and people was looking at me like I was bugging. So I had to skip past Diddy part, got to the Kim part, kept it rocking. And if Puffy is guilty, and based on the evidence and the feds bringing them charges, the feds usually don't miss. So he gonna get what he deserves. But I know we don't let things play out. I'm just asking if we should. But unfounded allegations can't go unpunished. We seen Travis Rudolph case where them men lost their life because of what was said, a picture that was painted, and the woman that said it. No charges, no consequences, no nothing. All she had to do was accuse. And men lost their life, lost their careers because of it. Be careful with this type of stuff, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Be safe and do the right thing, man. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm out.